Hello everyone, welcome to this video in which we are talking about the kidney functions in birds. That is in brief about the avian renal physiology. So in the last few video lectures we had discussed in detail how the urine formation occurs in case of mammals or in domestic animals. So here we are justly briefly going on to see how there is a variation in case of birds in the excretory physiology. So if you see the avian urinary organs, even the birds do have a pair of kidneys, and the ureter which emerges out as a tube from each kidney, and it ends in urodium of the cloaca. So the cloaca is a common gateway for the digestive, reproductive and also the urinary system in case of the birds. So if you come to the kidney, even they are the retroperitoneal structures. They are said to be lobed, and it consists of 3 lobes. It may be a cranial, middle and caudal lobes, and each lobe is composed of the lobules. And we have a special structure inside referred to as medullary cones, which is similar to that of the pyramid and the renal pelvis that we had seen in case of the other animals. So ureter is a tube-like structure which comes out of the medullary cone. It helps in the transportation of the urine that is formed to the urodium of the cloaca. The important point here to be noted is the absence of the urinary bladder. In case of birds, however, if you Google it out, we can see that we have a bird referred to be as American rhea, RHEA, or South American ostrich, where it is said to have the urinary bladder. However, if you see it in detail, it is nothing but the extension, an enlarged part of the cloaca. So coming for the nephrons, the nephrons can be classified into 2 major types in case of avians. One is referred to be as a reptile type of nephrons, which is located in the cortex and it lacks loop of Henle. The second is the mammalian type of nephrons, which has a well defined loops of Henle and it is grouped into a medullary cone. And we can see in case of mammalian type of nephron, there is counter current mechanism that exists, therefore it maintains a corticomedullary osmotic gradient, therefore the concentration of urine can take place. However, there are other ways in which the nephrons are classified. For example, there is also loopless nephrons, transitional nephrons and looped nephrons. It is another way of classification. However, it is well established and it is accepted that the reptilian type and mammalian type of nephrons. If you see the blood supply, we do have the renal artery, which then segments into a different interlobar arteries, etc. Therefore, it ultimately forms the efferent arteriole, which gives rise to glomerular capillaries, where the filtration occurs. The blood from the glomerular capillaries moves through the efferent arterioles from the glomerulus. So here there is a difference how the efferent arterioles goes. In case of reptilian type of nephron, it forms a peritubular blood supply. Whereas in case of mammalian type of nephrons, it forms the vasa recta. But the most striking feature in case of avian blood supply is the presence of renal portal system, which is absent in animals. So renal portal system is an second afferent blood supply to the kidney other than the renal artery. The blood that is coming from the renal artery, there is an additional blood supply to the kidneys which is referred to be as renal portal system. So it is a venous blood that is arriving from the hind limbs or from the tail region. So mainly from external iliac and sciatic veins. It will enter at the level of peritubular capillaries, and it is said that it supplies to about half to two-thirds of the blood to the kidney. So it's an extra amount of blood that is being supplied to the kidneys of the avians. Importantly, it is the venous blood that is coming from the hind portions. Now, why it is so much important in case of birds? Number one, it helps in the precipitation of uric acid. If you see, the end product of nitrogen metabolism in case of the birds is uric acid. It is not the urea as in case of the animals. So the uric acid is made to be precipitated because of increased amount of blood flow. That is, whenever the solubility is exceeded, the uric acid forms as a precipitate. The advantage is that this will prevent the obligatory water loss. In case of urea, there is an obligatory water loss. That is, whenever the urea flows in, there is few amount of water that always follows the urea. That is, obligatory water loss is essential. But in case of uric acid, the effective osmotic pressure that is given by the uric acid as a precipitate is lesser, or no, it does not add for the effective osmotic pressure. Therefore, the obligatory water loss is prevented. So this precipitation is possible by an increased amount of water, that is mainly the blood supplied by the renal portal system. Secondly, it helps in the maintenance of blood supply to the kidneys. That is, if you see the arginine vasopressin, which is an ADH in case of the birds, or angiotensin 2, have got an effect on afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole. They can constrict efferent and afferent arterioles. So whenever it is constricted, there is every chance that there is decreased blood supply. So this is maintained by an extra blood supply by the renal portal system. So if you come to the formation of urine, the three general steps remains the same. There is glomerular filtration followed by tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion, ultimately forming the urine. However, the uric acid is a major end product of nitrogen metabolism. It is formed in the liver. Therefore, there is avoiding of the obligatory water loss. However, you can see the countercurrent mechanism that is existing, which maintains the osmotic gradient, corticomedullary osmotic gradient. However, the notable difference is that it is created by sodium chloride transport from the thick ascending limb, and there is no role of the urea as we have seen in case of the animals, where we have studied about the urea recycling. So coming for the hormones which play an important role, arginine vasopressin, which is the antidiuretic hormone, is also referred as arginine vasopressin in case of birds, which helps in water reabsorption. Mainly it acts on the collecting ducts and it helps in the reabsorption of water. Secondly, angiotensin 2, depending upon the osmotic status of a bird, it can be either antidiuretic and antinatriuretic, or it can be natriuretic and diuretic. So it depends upon what is the condition there. So coming for the aldosterone, it is a principal regulator of the potassium concentration. It helps in the sodium reabsorption and potassium secretion. Atrial natriuretic peptide, it is a natriuretic and also the diuretic. It helps in diuresis and natriuresis, the loss of the sodium and the loss of the water. Parathyroid hormone, which is most important, which helps in the calcium reabsorption and phosphate excretion. Therefore, it maintains the ratio of the calcium and the phosphate. RAS system, renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, is very well established in case of birds. The other notable difference is the post-renal modification of the urine. So if you see, this post-renal modification occurs in case of colon to a greater extent and to a very little extent in case of the cecum. So it is nothing but the backflow of the blood, the retrograde flow of the blood by the antiperistaltic movement to the colon and the ceca, where there is water reabsorption and also the active reabsorption of the sodium. Therefore, if you see the urine, the bird urine is, whenever it is unmixed with the feces, is cream colored and it contains very thick mucus. The mucus secretion is most important because it helps in it facilitates the transport of the precipitated solute. It is especially the uric acid, so that it can easily flow through the organs there. The next important thing is the avian salt glands. So these are present near the head region. They are also referred to be as nasal glands. They are present in all species of the avians. However, they will produce a serous discharge, but in some species they will secrete salty secretions, which is concentrated, high concentration of sodium chloride. Therefore, in those species it is also referred to be as salt glands. So especially in case of ostriches, penguins, ducks, etc. So the important is that these glands secretes the excess salt. Therefore, other than the kidney, there is also a gland that is present elsewhere which helps in the excretion of the sodium from the body. The point here is that it functions only during the heavy salt load. Otherwise, they are found to be at rest. So whatever the sodium chloride that is produced, the salt secretion flows through the salt glands. It enters inside the nasal cavity, it comes to the nares and it is dripped out of the beak. Therefore, it helps as osmoregulator. So to generalize or to know the important differences between the avian and the mammalian or the animal renal system is that number 1 is the type of nephrons. Number 2 is the special circulatory mechanism, that is the renal portal system in case of the birds. Third, the end product of nitrogen metabolism, the uric acid, and its importance. Fourth, it is a post-renal modification of the urine. Thank you.